Hey everybody, what is happening? How is everybody doing? Let's get rid of our intro music here. Changing up the intro music a little bit more jazzy this time around. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to tonight's live stream. So this is special. We got a lot of stuff going on. This is our monthly coaching call with the members over at mixingmadeeasy.net, which is typically a private call. A few times this year, I've made these calls public for people that aren't members to check it out on YouTube. Typically, these things are private just for members, where I actually critique live some of our students' mixes, and then we give away some cool plugins. However, we're coming up on the end of the year, and a lot of people have asked me, and I see Dave has already put it in the chat, and thank you, Dave, so much. We'll get to the chat in a second. People have been asking, how can I join up? I'm not a member. When can I join up? You have to go to the website. You have to get your name on the email list, mixingmadeeasy.net. Dave's got it in the chat. And in January 1st, the doors are going to open up again for membership enrollment. I only do that twice a year, January and then typically July, where you can join up. So I want to kind of give everyone who has not really sure what mixingmadeeasy.net is all about, a little inside look at what we do here every month as part of the membership. Is we have a monthly coaching call where we talk about the mix, we talk about a whole bunch of stuff. I give away some plugins, we do some mix critiques, so you can check that out. Also, if you're not a member and you want to maybe try out some of the Mixing Made Easy content, I have a way for you to do that, and I've even made it part of our Black Friday sale, which is going on now, and we'll talk about all that in a second. But Dave will put a link in the chat for me in a second where all of the content from mixingmadeeasy.net from 2019 I've made available just for tonight's call. I put it as part of the Black Friday sale so you could get 50% off. So if you want to purchase one of the month's content from 2019, so you can check out what is the content really like at mixingmadeeasy.net, because you're not sure if you want to join, you're waiting until January to figure it out. Here's an opportunity for you to go pick a month and try it out for yourself. So Dave will put the link in the chat. You could go over to mixingmadeeasy.net, or it's at homerecordingmadeeasy.com is where you'll buy the course. You can pick one of the courses from 2019. You can use the coupon code BLACK50 and get 50% off that course, and you'll get a real inside look to what do we do every month at mixingmadeeasy.net. That pairs up nicely with tonight's coaching call, and that'll give you an inside look. And if it's something that you really like and you really dig the training and the content and you're serious about getting better at the craft of mixing, well, then in January you will get notified if you're on the email list that membership enrollment is open and you can sign up. So hopefully all of that will help all of you who are not current members that have inquired about becoming a member, okay? So I gave you a lot of opportunities here. Go check out one of the last year's courses. Dave's got the link in there. Thank you so much, Dave. Use 50% off. Use Black50 and the coupon code at checkout. Gives you a couple of months to work on some of the content, and then in January, if you want to sign up, you can sign up. So that's what we're going to do for tonight. So go ahead and make sure that you do that. Let me get over here into the chat. Oh, and then also keep in mind for everybody, Black Friday sales are going on, 50% off. Black50 coupon code takes 50% off all the training courses at homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And if you're new here and if you stumbled upon this and you've kind of jumped in on our coaching call, welcome to Home Recording Made Easy and mixingmadeeasy.net. Make sure that you're following me on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and whatever the hell else that we're on. You'll see everything on the screen here. Make sure you're subscribed to everything. That really does help. And if you find this live stream helpful to you and you find tonight's training and tonight's broadcast helpful and you want to help out Uncle Dave, feel free to use the super chat. So now let's go to the chat room. We'll say hello to some people, and then we'll jump into Studio One and we will critique some mixes. And I got some other cool things to tell you about as well. So let's go into the chat and let's see who is rocking and rolling. So let me see here if I can scroll back up here a little bit. I know David's here. David's here. Hey, Dave, what's up? Randall. Hey, Randall, how are you? Ian's here. How you doing, Ian? DJ is here. Hello. How are you? Jimmy Farmer's here. Going to talk about Jimmy Farmer in a second. Jimmy, welcome. We're going to talk about your song coming up. What else? Who else is here? Who else is here? Who else is here? Now, Tony's here. Hey, Tony, what's going on? Ben is here. Hey, Ben, how are you? Bobby Booth is here. Hey, Bobby, what's up? I did not send out an email to non-members. I just go live and if people are notified. So we may get a big turnout, we may not. I didn't notify anyone at the homerecordingmadeeasy.com camp. I just made this stream public, so we will see. DJ says, I received an email of a special offer for membership, but at this time, cause of the pandemic, I don't have the extra funds, especially with the conversion rate between the USA and Canada, maybe in January. Yeah, it's totally cool, man. Believe me, I get it. And with the pandemic, and I know a lot of people are struggling, believe me, I know. And that's why I put all this stuff on big time sales to try to help all you guys as much as I humanly can. But believe me, I get it, man. And I hope that, you know, that turns around for you so you're not struggling. I know there's a lot of people that are struggling. That's why I put all the memberships on sale. I'm putting all the courses on sale. I want to still try to help because with the pandemic, and it seems like we're going through another second round of lockdowns, who the hell knows? But I know people are spending a lot of time inside and they're spending a lot more time in their studios. And that's awesome. So if there's a silver lining in any of this, it's the fact that we get to spend a little more time in our studios, right? And this is a great opportunity to get extra training on because eventually we're going to go back to normal, right? And we're not going to have the time that we normally have in our studios this time around. So that's why I'm trying to help. But I totally get it. Hope to see you in January. Hope to see you in January. So that's going to be really good. Chris is here. Hey, Chris, what's going on? So another thing for all the mixingmadeeasy.net members, also something real exciting today, and I let Dave in on this little secret. So today, if you were here on, what was it, Saturday night? I think it was. We did a live stream where we looked at the PSP Infinity strip. If you didn't see that live stream where I demoed that plugin and we went through it together, it's still on the YouTube channel. You can check that out after the broadcast. That was just a demo that I downloaded from their website. And I was demoing it. Well, ironically enough, the company actually reached out to me today. They saw that live stream video and they offered to work with us. They gave me 5 licenses for that channel strip to give away as part of our mixing contest prize. So I have 5 of those to give. I'm not going to give them away all tonight. I don't even know if I'm going to give away one tonight. Maybe I'll give away one tonight. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. But I have 5. They also gave me, for myself, licenses to all of their plugins and said if I'm interested in any of the other ones, they'd be happy to give me some extra licenses for the mixingmadeeasy.net members. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at some of their other plugins. We're going to do some demos on YouTube. And if I find a couple that I really like, I think some are really cool. Maybe you guys have some suggestions. If you use any of the PSP stuff, I will get licenses for those as well. So that's really, really cool. That was really, really nice of them to do that. And I think that PSP Infinity Strip is really cool. That's a $200 plugin. They gave me $1,000 worth of free plugins. So that's part of being a member. You get a chance to win stuff like that every single month. And I have more and more companies that are working with me over at mixingmadeeasy.net. So that's good for you. So if I could get you guys some free plugins, that's what I'm trying to do for you guys. So I'm helping you out. And for now, you could go demo the plugins if you want on their website. You just create an account. You can demo any of their plugins. And I suggest that you do that. I don't have a lot of experience with their stuff, but I really did enjoy the Infinity Strip. And now I'm looking forward to working with some of their other stuff to see if it's as good as that stuff is. We'll have to check that out and see. Some other news, Acoustica. A lot of you guys over at Mixing Made Easy have asked me countless times to demo their stuff. I have a couple of their demos that I'm going to check out. I have a couple of their channel strips. I am now also in communication with them as well. I spoke to them via email today, and we're working on a deal to try to get some plugins as well for mixingmadeeasy.net. So that's another, I feel, a really good company to work with. A lot of you guys seem to like their plugins. I don't have much experience with them, but I'm going to check them out, and I'm going to try to bring you some of those as well. Okay, so we got a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of cool prizes, a lot of cool plugins coming up for 2021. So again, if you are a member already, then you're going to be able to benefit from all of this. If you're not a member and you want to become a member, this is where you want to be, pay attention to January 1st, and I'll give you notification prior to that. Get on the email list at mixingmadeeasy.net. Dave's already put it in the chat a couple of times. Make sure that you're on that email list. You'll be notified when membership enrollment opens. And again, if you want to try out one of the month's content, you can go pick from 12 of them in the link that Dave put into the chat, and you can take 50% off and pick one of the courses from 2019. Is that cool? Anyone have any questions about any of that stuff? If you do, we'll do a Q&A session after we do some mix critiques, and I could try to answer them, or though Dave can probably answer most of these questions in the chat as we go through. So that'll be cool. So we got a lot of things. Dave's putting a lot of links in the chat, keeping up with everything. Thank you so much, my friend. I really do appreciate that. Also, something exciting for 2021 for Mixing Made Easy for all the members is Jimmy Farmer's here. He has been really kind to give us one of his songs that him and his band recorded to mix for January's content. It's like I would say country pop rock tune. Really great song, great recording job. We're going to mix his song in January. So he was really nice and gracious to give us that, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. It's a great tune, and I think you're really going to enjoy mixing it. We're going to mix that in January. You'll see that content in January for sure. Not December, but for January. And so what I want to try to do in 2021 with some of you guys, if you're willing, if any of our other members, if you're writing and recording your own music and you want the community to mix one of your songs, hit me up with an email. Send me just a rough, you don't have to mix it. Just give me a rough, throw up, the faders, balance them a little bit. Throw me a rough MP3 of the recording so I could hear it, just to see if it's something I can fit in. And then if you're willing to share the audio files, the multi-tracks with us, I'd be happy to mix it one month and kind of filter it in with all the other content. I think that's a really, really great thing for you as a recording musician, is to hear not only what I would do with your mix, but what all the other students would do, because you guys can post it up in the user community and our private user forum, as you guys do every month with all the content, and you can get feedback from all the other members. There is no better way to get better at mixing your own music than that, is to get 15 or 20 different engineers mixing your music. You're going to get 20 different mixes, 20 different perspectives. It'll be very, very cool. So if you're someone that has some music that you'd like to have us mix, hit me up with an email. Don't be bashful. Don't be shy. Don't be weird about it. It's cool, right? This is a safe place. There's no one being critical. If you don't think it's the greatest thing in the world, that's okay. We're here to help you improve, not only with your mixing, but also if there's some recording issues or some recording questions or things that we can help along with the recording aspect of things for you. We're here to help you, okay? So hit me up. I think that would be very, very valuable. I think Jimmy is going to get a lot out of this experiment, and it's a great tune, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So thanks, Jimmy, for giving us that multi-track. I think people are going to have a lot of fun with it. I know I'm excited to mix it. It's going to be really, really cool. Great job. Great job. Okay, who else is floating around here? Let's see. Bobby, mixing and mastering. Can't wait for January. Then I only mix songs. Enjoy mixing other people's songs. Cool. That's great, man. That's awesome. I think you're going to enjoy this one. It'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. Let me just scroll up here and make sure I didn't miss anything else. Jimmy Farmer, catch the replay. It's worth the time. Ian says we have 2 in David's chat. Now we don't know which one we are asking. Not sure what that means, but okay. Dave will sort it all out. Let's see. David will sort it all out. Okay, cool. So if anyone does have any questions, we're going to head over into Studio One. We're going to pull up some mixes. We're going to show everybody who doesn't typically isn't a member, what we do here. And I could tell you that this really has helped a lot. I can tell you that the mixes every month get better and better and better. They're becoming more and more difficult to pick apart, which is what I have, and it's more and more of a struggle for me to pick a winner every month, to be quite honest with you. So let me get my cans on. Let me get some volume over here. Checking. Okay, let me get into Studio One here, and let's get rocking and rolling, and let's do it, man. Let's get this thing up and show people what we do here. Okay, this is something that you don't see in other mixing membership websites. You just don't. There's actually one that'll actually do mix critiques for you, but you got to pay them every month to do mix critiques for you. This is all part of your membership. This is free of charge. So when you pay for a membership, not only do you get all the content and all the audio files, and you get access to the user forum, so you can share your mixes and get feedback from me and from other members. Not only do you get access to this coaching call every month and you get a chance to win free, really cool plugins, but you also get live feedback and mix critiques every month at no extra charge, right? The more I say that, the more I say, hey, why aren't I charging for this? That's okay. That's okay. No, it's cool. And I think it's really helpful. I've noticed since I've been doing these live mix critiques, we didn't do them when we're going on, by the way, this will be our 3rd year going on mixingmadeeasy.net starting next year, 3 full years. Really, really excited. It's really, really cool. The first year I didn't do these live mix critiques. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but we've been doing it now all of 2020, and I think part of 2019 as well. And people really seem to like it. So we're going to continue to do it. So anyway, this month they mixed, or last month, we're November, right? October, they mixed a song by Cat Wright called The River, R&B tune. Really, really cool. Oh, and by the way, wait till you hear the song we're doing next month in December. A really great jazz, like almost a jazz, modern jazz tune. Really cool. You're really going to dig it. Small session because of the holidays. Try to keep it easy, but you're going to dig it. So anyway, and so what we're going to do is I pick every month 8 or 10. We'll listen to 10 this month, where I pick a handful or 10 mixes from different people. I try to get a nice cross section of people. Some people don't submit their mix every month, or sometimes I just can't do live mix critiques for everyone that sends a mix in every month. We'd be here for 4 hours. I get tons of submissions. But there's some people who send in every single month and some people who do every other month, every couple of months, depending on their time and their schedule. And as I see people sending stuff in who I have not done live here, I try to implement those. And then people that get theirs done every month or every couple of months, they may sit out 1 month. So I try to do a nice cross section, which reminds me, Mixing Made Easy members. And again, I try to keep track of this stuff, but sometimes it's challenging. If you've sent me mixes every month or every couple of months and you haven't seen me do this live with one of your mixes in 3 months, please email me and let me know that. I'm not doing it purposely. It's because there's so many of them. It is a little challenging for me to be able to organize that and keep track of all of that. So if you're sending it every month, you will see your mix live here at least one of those months, sometimes twice, sometimes all 3, depending on how many submissions I get that month. But if for some reason you don't, please email me and let me know, and I will make sure that I get you in the next month. Okay, cool. Does that work? Okay, so anyhow, the first mix we're going to listen to is from Andrew. Now, we also record these, so if you can't make the call in real time, like tonight live, if a member is not around because of time zones and working and family and life, I get it. These are all recorded and I post them up in your membership area tomorrow morning so you can watch the replay, the full live stream from start to finish, the mix critiques, the Q&A, the whole thing. Okay, so you'll always have access to it. It is always up there. I have every coaching call up on our website, so you can even go back and you can even watch old episodes of it if you want to check things out, or if you're a fairly new member and you want to see some old content, you can. Okay, so that's always up there. It's in the section called Coaching Call when you log in to your membership area. Okay, cool? All right, shut up, Dave. Let's start moving, right? That's what you're saying. I know. It's a lot of stuff tonight, guys. God. All right. Anyway. Okay, here's Andrew's mix. This is The River. Let's take a listen and let's see how it sounds. Here we go. Oh, and I also took some notes. As I said, I've been taking notes. I'm listening to these obviously on headphones, but prior, over the course of the morning, I'm listening to these in my studio on several different speaker systems, and I'm taking some notes on each one of the mixes. A couple of things, again, as you guys are getting better, part of my thing I'm really kind of hopped on the last 3 or 4 months anyway, is getting to mix to translate well on smaller speaker, not great speaker systems, right? Why? Because most people consume music today on what? Earbuds, headphones, laptops, smartphones, iPads. They don't listen to music the way you all listen to music and the way I listen to music in a nice control room with nice speakers, right? So it's important that if we're mixing and we're practicing to mix for music that's going to be consumed in the general public, we have to make sure it sounds good on those speaker systems. And I can't always tell that while I'm doing this live just on headphones. So I've taken some notes. And I will tell every single mix we listen to tonight, I have a few notes, and I'm going to give you those thoughts as well. So let's start off with Andrew's mix. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so first of all, let me know in the chat if the volume is okay for Studio One. If it's a little louder, a little quiet, just let me know. I'll make adjustments. So Andrew, I don't know if you're here tonight, but you'll see this on the replay because I know you watch the replays. A couple of notes. First thing, sounds good on small speakers. The bass and the kick cut through very well. I made sure I checked that for you. I noticed that the vocal could probably be a little bit louder. It seems to me that the snare drum in particular is louder than the lead vocal. And remember now, this vocal, although it doesn't come in until about the minute 30 mark. It's a pretty long intro, kind of a big instrumental section. And it sounds great in the intro. The balance sounds really good. When you get to the vocal, it's a little quiet. So a couple of things you can do to kind of combat that. One is turn the vocal up, obviously. Two, if you like the vocal sitting in the pocket like that, you may want to automate the drums to come down a little bit when that vocal kicks in. The other thing is I think the mix in and of itself needs a little more air. And so we'll try to do some of that here with the Fab Filter.
You know, it won't be long. Do something, come along. When the river sings your song, you know it won't be long till it comes along. Shows you right from wrong. When the river sings your song, when the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay.
Okay, so taking a little bit of mids out, it's a little bit mid-heavy, not too bad. But in order to bring out some little more air here, so I cut a little bit here. And again, these look like larger cuts than they are because of just the way this, which is what I like. It's really nice and big and blown up. This is only taking out about 2.5 dB here at 580. And then at 10K, a little over 10K, adding about 1.5 dB brings a little bit more sparkle. But it's got a lot of mid-range, low mids build up here. You can see it.
When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday. Oh, when the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay. When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday.
Even in that spot, guitar solo sounds great, but the ride cymbal kind of gets in the way of the guitar solo. Part of, I think, that issue is that you have the solo pan to the same side as the ride. So you can hear it on one side. You can hear the ride louder than the guitar solo when it's on the same side. So you want to hear the ride in that section, obviously, but what I would probably do there is maybe pan the guitar over to the other side. So you give them both their own little space. Okay. On the lead vocal here too, again, there's a lot of areas in this vocal where she's very dynamic, and there's a lot of single phrases that pop out, and you want to make sure that you're compressing in a way that kind of controls that, so you don't get one word that kind of hits you in the face. You'll hear an example of that over here.
Someday,
Right there, someday. The word day is way too loud.
then you'll reach ocean someday. When the river lifts you up.
Okay, so not bad. Pretty good. It's just a couple of tweaks here. Again, it still sounds a little mid-range heavy to me. Now, also keep in mind that, again, when we talk about when we're taking music and putting it on different speaker systems that are not the most ideal, and again, this is where most music is consumed today. Those speakers are typically very mid-range heavy. They're very nasty in the mids, right? So it's even more important. And again, you don't want to make it completely scooped. We're not mixing Metallica here, but you want to make sure you strike that balance. That's why it is so important that you reference on different speaker systems if you can. Okay, or you get a plugin like something like the Audify Mix Checker Pro, which we've demoed here. We've given away that as part of our mixing contest a few times. That kind of emulates different speaker and listening environments. That's going to help. Okay, so you got to kind of keep that stuff in mind. Okay, what sounds, when you're listening to studio monitors, if you have good studio monitors especially, they tend to sound a lot sweeter in the mids, which is fine. That's great. But realize where the music's going to be consumed. Okay, and again, vocal needs a little bit more compression. It's got a little too low in certain areas and a little too loud in others, or you can ride it and automate it. And the guitar solo sounds great, but I would move it away from the ride cymbal. Okay, the ride cymbal shouldn't be louder than the guitar solo. But again, we're talking minor tweaks here. 10 minutes, this mix can sound completely different in a good way. So it's a great start. It sounds really good. I think you did a nice job. You just need to tweak it a little, man. But you did a really good job, man. And I appreciate you sending it in. So hopefully when you watch this, if you're not here tonight, I don't think you're live here. When you watch this on the replay. And if you have any questions, Andrew, hit me up with an email and I'll be sure to get back to you and see if I can help you in any way I can. Okay? Okay, next mix is Blake. Blake is up next. I don't know if Blake's here. If you are, hey Blake, what's up? If not, I know you watch the replays as well because you email me pretty regularly. So let's take a listen to what you have going on here. So here is Blake's mix. Okay, before we get into the vocal, some notes I took here, Blake. The bass and the kick, very difficult to hear on small speakers. They didn't translate very well at all. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. Now, one thing, and I'll probably say this a couple of times because I don't know if I clarified when I talk about how you get the kick drum. I know I did during the month's content, but you may have missed it in the video. But for all the other folks that are here that are not members, here's a little free tip for you. When you're trying to get the kick drum to cut through on smaller speakers, a lot of people think that you need to go when we think about getting the kick drum to cut, a lot of people run to that 50, 60 hertz range. That's the exact opposite of what you want to do when you want a kick drum to cut through small speakers. That sits somewhere around 6-8K. Okay, most kick drums, depending on how it's recorded, blah, blah, blah. You want to hear the click. We're not looking for the low thickness because the smaller speakers are not going to give you that. What we want is the pop, the click, right? That's in that 6-8K range, typically. Sometimes it's a little lower, sometimes it's a little higher. And it's a pretty big boost, by the way. It could be somewhere around 4 or 5 dB of boost in that area, okay? So it all depends on the recording. But when you want a kick drum to cut through on smaller speakers, that's where the frequency is. It's not on the low side, it's on the higher side, okay? So keep that in mind. So you got to work on that, getting in the bass, same thing. Now, bass is a little bit more challenging to get the cut through on small speakers, and this is why I recommend, and you've seen me do this in the content every month, Waves R-Bass. And I'm sure Dave will throw it up in the chat before I even finish the sentence. Waves R-Bass is a great plugin to help bass guitars cut through on small speakers. It's not just a compressor. As a matter of fact, I did a YouTube video on it. You can go watch it, where we actually got out the Waves manual, and I read the manual to you on screen of what it is. And there's a lot of hocus pocus, if you will, a lot of algorithm stuff going on under the hood of that plugin to give you that bass to come through on small speakers, okay? You should check out that plugin, especially with Black Friday sales. You could get it for 25 bucks. Go buy that plugin. That's one of those essential ones that I use all the time on bass guitar and toms especially, okay? So there's another tip for people that are not members, okay? Go check that out. All right, so let's take a listen here.
When the river sings a song, you know it won't be long till something come along and shows you right from wrong. Oh, when the river sings your song, you know it won't be long till something.
Okay, hear that lead vocal, to something. Hear how those words are poking out of the mix? Okay, I think when I did this vocal, if you were watching the content on the vocal videos, I think I went through that. It was a very dynamic vocal, this vocal. And you got to control those peaks. And you could do it with a standard compressor, but it's challenging on a vocal like this. You really have to go in and cut out those words and kind of pull them down manually to kind of even them out. It distracts the listener. Okay, it almost like it kind of, if you're especially, and I'm not listening to this music very loud. I don't know how loud you guys are listening to it on over the stream here. And sometimes I'm not sure how the audio quality comes through on the stream because YouTube compresses the snot out of it. But I'm listening to this at a very moderate volume. In certain words, they hurt your ears. It's almost like, ooh, it hurts because the vocal pops out too much. It's too dynamic. Okay, so you got to really watch that. You really got to go through. Remember, the lead vocal is the most important instrument in the song by far. You got to make sure, especially a vocal like this, where it's very intimate. It's a very intimate vocal. It's up close. It's in your face, but it can't be distracting. It can't hurt your ears. The other thing on this mix, I think, Blake, that you can pull up the drums a little. They seem a little too far back in the mix to me compared to the rest of the band. That might have been just a creative decision on your part, and that's cool. It's not way out of whack where I go, wow, that sounds horrible. No, it's just I feel like it could come a little forward. Just again, probably a little subjective, but just something to think about.
Come along.
You can hear right there, come along. Love my voice, right? Wow, way too loud.
Do something. Come along. When the river sings your song, you know it won't be long Wow. When the river sings your song, when the river finds its way, well, you too.
Okay, so we took out around 600, about 1.5 dB, and about 3K, a little over 3K, about 1.5 dB. And you can see when that's where her voice gets a little nasally, okay?
We'll be okay when the river finds its way. Then you'll reach ocean someday. Oh, when the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay when the river finds its way. Then you'll reach ocean someday.
Nice job with the ride cymbal. Conversely to the last mix, why I'm pointing it out, listen to where, I'll back this up a little bit. Listen to where the ride cymbal sits with this guitar solo. That's where it should sit, in my opinion. Right, you can hear it. Right? Okay, that was good. Guitar solo sounded nice, perfect balance with the drums. So there's the things I would check on, Blake. First of all, like I said, bass and kick on the small speakers, can't hear it at all. Got to work through that R bass. If you want to check it out, I see Davis keeping up on the chat. Thank you, brother. Little nasally on the vocal. You see the EQ moves that I made here. Again, just a few tweaks, and this mix is there where it needs to be. Okay, and we're not talking about much, right? So, good job. Really good job. Really, really close, man. Okay, Brian Hall is up, right? Yeah, Brian's up next. Brian, I think you're here, right? You're floating around. Let's listen to Brian. See what we got here. Okay, before we get to the vocals, so the intro, once again on the kick the kick drum, very hard to hear on small speakers. Didn't really cut through. Bass was better, but the kick drum, I was missing it on the 5-inch speakers. So you want to check that. The snare drum sounds a little bit thin to me here, but again, that's just a creative thing. It's okay, but it's got a different tonality to it.
When the river sings a song, you know it won't be long till something come along and shows you right from wrong. Oh, when the river sings your song, you know it won't be long till
Okay, so a couple of things. One thing I really like about the vocal is, unlike the last couple of mixes we listened to, you don't, excuse me, you don't have that single word popping out and hitching you in the face. So you did a nice job controlling that. Not sure how you did that. I know you're here, so maybe you can let us know in the chat. How did you tame that vocal? Did you just do it with a compressor? Did you stack compressors? The thing about the vocal that I don't care for is it's real dry. I think this vocal needs a little bit more space around it. It sounds like, I love that it's up front. It's like right there. I just feel like it needs a little more space, and it sounds a little muffled to me, which I can't seem to grab out of here with an EQ across a stereo mix. It seems like it can use a little more air, and probably in this area here, in this 3K area, to pull some of it out would clean up some of that mask that she has, and with a little bit of like maybe a little bit of delay or a little bit of plate reverb on that, not a lot, because you don't want to drown it out too much. I think it would just give it a little bit more. It brightens up a little bit. Or on the reverb, maybe, EQ the reverb in a way where it's a little bit more bright on the reverb. That'll help this too.
Finds its way. Well, you too will be okay when the river finds its way. Then you'll reach ocean someday. Oh, when the river finds its way. Well, you too will be okay when the river finds its way. Then you'll reach ocean someday.
Trying to bring out more of that snare. The snare sounds really thin. I think in that 225 to 240 range, if you brought up a little bit more meat on the snare, I think that would help a lot. It would help solidify the foundation of this. It just sounds like that the rhythm section's a little weak, and I think it's that snare drum.
When the river lifts you up, you know that its wisdom will fill your cup. And when
Yeah, even in that spot, those kick drums should be louder, I think. Should be a little bit more thick. But I mean, other than that, I think, again, cutting through on the small speakers, the kick drum is something we got to work on a little bit. And smoothing out that vocal a little and smoothing out the snare. We can get a little bit more beef on the snare. You could have used a sample too. Someone I thought said in the chat as I was glancing at it, they thought the drums they're not live. The drums are live. They're not samples. At least they're not on the sample. They're not on the ones that I gave everybody. Those are real live drums. Now, some guys might have put some samples on there, but they're not fake drums. And by the way, I had this with a student this week. Someone was asking about samples and drum replacement, and we've talked about this, but I'll give everybody here another free tip that isn't a member. 85% of what you hear on popular radio today or on streaming services are sampled drums. 85%. And I know this because I know several drummers in the Nashville and in the Los Angeles area that do this for a living. And they're not completely replaced with fake drums, but they are certainly enhanced. So what you hear today on the radio, what you hear in popular music today, you can almost guarantee has samples in the drums. Without a doubt. Superior Drummers is the #1 program that a lot of these studios use, especially down in Nashville. They use samples all the time. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with samples, because the question had come in, using samples, is it cheating? I think the word that he may have used was, I feel like I'm cheating. You're not cheating. The samples today were recorded by real humans. They're real live drum samples, right? We all know this. And it's something that is used today in commercial music. So what I'm trying to get at is, if you want your drums and you want your drums to sound commercially competitive, most times there's samples in there, for sure. Okay. Now this particular session, the drums were live. There were no samples unless you guys added some in your mix. So I just want to point it out because I saw that in the chat and I just wanted to clear that up. That is absolutely true. At least from the people that I've talked to, and I've talked to people that play on sessions in the music business every day, and they've told me the same thing. So anyhow, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Okay, so Brian, hopefully that helps you. Good job. Thank you for sending that in, as always. Okay, Dave Rhodes. If Dave is here, let's take a listen to Dave and see what he has. We'll keep moving through. We're only about, what, number 4? We're not even halfway through. Okay. Great kick drum sound, by the way. And yes, it cuts through on small speakers. And as soon as I heard that kick drum, I knew that it would. Good job on that, Dave. So far, really good. The only critique I have about this, it sounds like in the verses, the snare is louder than the vocal. I think the vocal just needs to come up a touch or open it up. It sounds a little warm. Not too warm, but a little more air on this vocal would help it separate from the snare a little bit. It's why I'm kind of boosting it here. But again, we're doing it on a stereo mix, so obviously it's not going to be as effective as going in on the original track, obviously. This is a perfect example where a plugin such as the Plugin Alliance makes and the Universal Audio makes it, the Moog EQ4 with the Airband would be perfect on this vocal in this particular mix. 40K, you bring up about 6 dB, gets nice and open all of a sudden on the top end. I've used it before a handful of times over the last 3 or 4 months. You've seen that. That's a good plugin to have. For the Airband in and of itself, it's one of the few EQs that I know of that you can really boost that wicked top 20, 40K, and it never gets brittle. And you wouldn't think there's anything at 40K. You go, well, we only can hear it at 20K. Get that EQ, demo it, put it on 40K, and jack it up 6 dB, and you'll hear the mix open up. It's a great, that would be perfect on this vocal, I think. But outside of that, it's pretty good, Dave.
Well, you too will be okay when the river finds its way. Then you'll reach ocean someday.
Great job on there's no spiky words. She's not poking out and hitting me in the face. Great job on that. Okay, but here's another little thing I want you guys to listen to. Okay, so we were just talking about brightening up that vocal a little bit. So what's one thing you can do without taking the top EQ and just boosting the top end? You cut some of the mids, right? We talk a lot about this, talking about mid-range management, I call it. Listen to this 2 dB cut at 480 hertz. I'm going to bypass it before and after so you can watch the power switch here at the top left-hand corner of the plugin. Listen to her vocal, just her vocal, if you could focus in on that, when I bring this EQ move in, how her vocal all of a sudden opens up.
Well, you two will be okay when the river finds its way. Then you'll reach ocean someday. Oh, when the river finds a way. Well, you two will be okay.
Can you hear that? It's subtle, but it makes a big, big difference. And again, we're doing this on a stereo mix. If you were doing this just on the vocal track, what a difference that makes. That with a little bit of air in this vocal sits perfectly.
When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday.
Okay, perfect. We talked 3 mixes ago about how the ride cymbal and the Glee guitar were on the same side and they were battling each other. Here's a perfect example of what I was talking about. The guitar's on one side and the ride's on the other, and they're at just the right volume where they're separated and not one of them is intrusive to the ear. Really good job. Nice. Okay, so a couple of things here. A little bit of a mid cut here helps that vocal. We need a little more air on the vocal, just a little bit. It sounds great on small speakers. That kick drum sounds really, really good. In the verses a little bit, the snare might be a little loud, but again, I'm being a little picky. But this is a solid mix. It's a good job, Dave. One of the better mixes I've heard from you, which is good. Good job. Great job on not having her vocal come out and hit you in the face. I didn't even notice that once. Okay, where on some of the other mixes, it was instantly hitting me in the ears. So you did a really good job there. Okay, great job. We're talking about finer details here. Okay, really, really nice. All right, David S.J. Let's listen to David S.J. Everybody still with me here? We got 38 people here still watching. Awesome. Hopefully you guys are finding this helpful. Again, if you're not members here, Dave's putting all the links in the chat. This is the kind of stuff we do every single month. Okay? You're not going to get this anywhere else. No one's going to sit down and critique this for you like this. Not at this level of detail. Usually at Home Recording Made Easy, when people want mix critiques, I charge $85 to do a mix critique. You get it as part of your membership. Just so you know that. People pay me every week to do mix critiques for them. Okay? So you could get that as part of your membership. So think of that. You get a free mix critique almost every month, you know, as part of your membership. Okay, before we get to the vocal, sounds really good. Kick sounds great on small speakers. Bass sounds good on small speakers. The reverb on that snare is perfect, in my opinion. The drums sound really, really good there. So now let's see what happens when we hear the vocal.
When the river sings a song, you know it won't be long till something come along and shows you right from wrong. Oh, when the river sings your song, you know it won't be long till something come along. When the river sings your song, you know it won't be long till it comes along, shows you right from wrong.
Do I hear saturation on that vocal, Dave? Is it my ears, or does it hear like it's got you? Did you add some nice set? I mean, it sounds great, but that sounds like that vocal's got some kind of something on there that's different.
When the river sings your song, when the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay. When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday. Oh, when the river finds a way, well, you too will be okay. When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday.
And it's hard to find anything about this mix I don't like. I just don't know whatever you got going on in that vocal. There's something there, and I just don't know if I like it. But that's just personal taste. But the balance of the whole mix is really good. It really is good. I mean, I'm pulling an EQ up here, and I'm going, I don't know what I would really do here. I think it sounds really good. The guitar solo sounds great. I like the tonality of the ride in that left ear again.
When the river lifts you up, you know that its wisdom will fill your cup. And when the river lifts you up, let it take you away. Oh, when the river lifts you up, you know that its wisdom will fill your cup. And when the
That's the best mix I've heard you do. That's really good. I just don't know what's on that vocal. I hope you can share that with us, or at least tell me you have. You don't have to tell me what it is. You don't want to give up your tricks, but tell us that there's something there. Or is my ears playing tricks on me? I think I hear almost like a light distortion on the vocal. Not in a bad way, not like a digital clipping thing, like an oversaturation, almost like you're hitting tape a little too hard. But I think you're doing it on purpose. You're doing it because that's the creative decision that you made. And I don't even know that. I can't even say I don't like it. I know I hear it, and that's that's six one half dozen the other. It's all personal preference. But I mean, aside from that, debate on whether you should or shouldn't put that on there, if it's in fact there and there's something on there, I can hear it. The rest of the mix sounds fantastic. I mean, it's really good. That's the best mix you've done, but I think, your mixes are always solid, but that is a good one. Very good, Dave. Good job. Good job. And let us know if you want to give up your secret about what you put on the vocal. Because there's something on that damn vocal. I don't know what it is, but it sounds like saturation to me. But it sounds good. Oh, and it did. If I didn't say this, it did cut through really well on the small speakers, really, really well. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, I love the reverb delay thing on the vocal. It's just the right amount. This vocal could be very tempting to put too much wetness on it, and this sounds perfect. It doesn't. I only wrote it down because I had to listen for it because it didn't stand out too much to me, which is the way personally. And again, and this is all for everyone that's watching. When you talk about reverb and delays, especially on vocals, it becomes a personal preference thing. I personally like it to be almost where you have to point it out. It shouldn't be obvious. But some people like more wet vocals. I tend to like them a little bit more on the dry side myself, but again, that's personal preference. And I didn't hear that much. It didn't stand out, but when I listen for it, I know it's there, and it's the perfect amount. And so really, really good job, man. That was a good mix. Really good. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Who's next? James, right? Yeah. James, are you here? I thought I saw you floating around in here. Maybe not. Okay. If you're not, you'll see it on the replay. Let's go. What's that at the beginning? James? What is that? Okay, you left all the clicks in there? Okay, we get a lot of reverb happening on the drums. Too much. And in the beginning, James, make sure you cut all that racket out before. You can keep the stick clicks in there if you want. Typically I would take those out, but you can leave those in there. But you want to make sure you get rid of all that noise floor. Okay, so you got to start with shut all that reverb off before we can really talk about how we can balance as the reverb really gets in the way a lot. So one thing you want to make sure that we're doing here, and again, this goes for people that are not members here. I'm going to give you another tip here. And we talk a lot about this in the content every month. Members here will contest to this. And I'm really big on this, and I have been for the last 3 or 4 months, and I'm going to be even more big on this as we move forward. Using reference tracks. Using reference tracks when you're mixing, whether you're using a reference track of the professional mix of the same song, or whether you're using a reference track in the same style or genre, music, and kind of compare it to. Not that you're trying to copy it exactly, but that you're using it for things like how much reverb should be on the drums in an R&B, kind of a smooth R&B track like this in popular music. How loud should the hi-hat be, right? Those kinds of things. When you're not mixing with reference tracks, you're completely flying blind, okay? It's a roadmap. It's not cheating. Some people think it's like using drum sample. Oh, it's cheating. No, it's not. The best mixers in the world use reference tracks, okay? A lot of times when you're mixing for clients, a lot of times you're using the reference tracks of the rough mix that maybe the band did because that's what they like and what they're used to hearing, and you're using that as kind of your roadmap to get you kind of going in the right direction. That's going to help with situations like this, where you would know as soon as you listen to a reference, okay, wait a minute, I can't have that much reverb on the drums. It's just too much, you know? So again, something to consider. I've said it a million times. Again, Black Friday's coming. You have all these plugin manufacturers are putting plugins on sale. The one that I like to use is a reference track plugin that I use now called, Metric AB by Plugin Alliance. Usually it's about $100 something. I know for Black Friday, you'll be able to get that plugin for $50. They put it on sale a couple of weeks ago, and I made sure I told all our members, go buy that plugin if you don't have one. Okay. It's one of the single best things you can do to make your mixes better is to have a guide, a reference. Okay.
Till something come along and shows you right from wrong. Oh, when the river sings your song, you know it won't be long till something come along. When the river sings your song, you know it won't be long till it comes along. Show you right from wrong. When the river sings your song, when the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay.
Okay, so we got to work on the reverb on that for sure. The other thing too, now that I'm thinking, James, and you might have done this, I don't know. During the course of the month, make sure that you're, posting one of your rough mixes or one of your first drafts, if you will, over in the user community. Again, it's another one of those part of your membership price benefits that you put up your mix during the course of the month, and other members will listen to it and give you some feedback so you can correct any issues that you think you might have before you send it into the mixing contest. Okay. So yes, you're getting a mix critique here live, but you also can get 5 or 6 or 10 or 15 mix critiques throughout the month to help hone in your mix. Something I would recommend if you're not doing that. Okay. So for next month, make sure you use a reference track. Make sure you're careful on the reverb. Okay. And, send me in another mix and let's get you going in the right direction. If you see this on the replay, if you're not here tonight. Okay. But thank you for sending it in. Let's move on. Jimmy Farmer is up next. We're moving. Here we go. Jimmy, you're here somewhere. At least you were. Okay, so kick drum cuts through very nice on small speakers. The bass as well. Okay, so that was really good. Intro sounds pretty good. Things sound nice and balanced. Reverb, snare, I like it. Sounds good. Everything sounds good so far. The mix itself sounds like it could use a little more air, but let's hear the vocal.
When the river sings a song, you know it won't be long till something.
So the vocal's got a little bit of an S, need a little bit of a DS there. The snare drum seems like it's a little louder than the vocal, not terribly louder than the vocal, but a little bit. And the vocal sounds a little dry. The whole mix needs a little more air. The balance is pretty good, but it seems like it's a little flat to me.
Come along and shows you right from
what I'm trying to do here is not really what we should be doing because it's a stereo mix. So these cuts are only to try to bring a little more air and a little more brightness to this mix. Frequency wise, you got things balanced really well because you can see it here in the spectrum analyzer. You got a pretty even distribution across the board. That's why the mix sounds the way it does in a good way. It just needs a little bit more, a little more air. And the only way you can get that really is on the individual tracks. It's a little unfair to try to do it here.
Then you'll reach ocean someday.
Yeah, see, when I bring this boost in here, it makes the vocal too essy. But on the instrumentation, before the vocal comes in, it really brightens up the mix a lot. So I think a little de-essing on the vocal would go a long way. And a little more air, I think you just got to, like, maybe on your drum bus or on your overheads, need to open up the top, get a little more clarity, just to get a little more air around things. But from the mid-range is managed really well, and you don't have any weird frequency things happening. The whole mix just seems a little flat. It just needs to be a little bit more present. You know what I'm saying? Even something like on the master bus, I don't know what plugins you use, but you know what, just a simple way to put something on the master bus that might help this, maybe something like the Slate Digital Saturator, like the New York, something that's a little bit of it kind of opens up the top end. Another one would be like the FG Mu compressor, has a nice top end bump to it that might open things up a little bit, but you got to control the S's first because it will make that vocal too, and it's already got that now. So if you can control the S's on the vocal and then put something that just adds a little sparkle, this would be a real solid mix because everything else sounds really good. You did a really good job on it, man. You did. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. Okay, we got 3 more. Let's go to Steven's mix. Hopefully Steven's around here. Let me go back to the beginning. Here we go. Overall, the balance is pretty good. It does cut through on small speakers. The drums to me seems like it lacks a little fullness, and the snare is very thin sounding to me. It needs a little bit more oomph, that snare drum.
When the river sings a song, you know it won't be long till something come along and shows you right from wrong. Oh, when the river sings your
Okay, so this little mid-range cut is helping that little bit more clarity that I was kind of hoping for. Again, it's not much. It's only 1.5 dB. It's 600 hertz, and there's a 1.5 dB bump at almost 11K.
When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday.
So yeah, some of that vocal, like even on that last line, someday, you don't hear the word day. Okay, another thing you got to be careful on a vocal like this is we want to hear all the lyrics, right? We want to hear all the words. So a lot of times with a vocal performance such as this, where she gets really loud, really quiet, and she kind of maybe moves away from the mic, and she gets very quiet as she's trailing off some of the phrases, you may have to go in, cut the last couple of words, and bring them up a little bit. Don't just rely on a compressor to do that. Remember, compressors, you can do it, but it's, something that's super dynamic. It's nice to be able to maybe build the foundation of that vocal manually, editing the vocal manually first, and then letting a compressor just kind of squeeze it a little bit, not trying to bring out things that you just can't hear.
Oh, when the river finds its way, well, you two will be okay. When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday.
Okay, not bad. So again, the snare drum is the big takeaway I think from this, and also on the lead vocal where you can't hear the words at the end of certain phrases. It does cut well on small speakers, which is great. Great job on the low end. I think if you can get a little bit bigger snare, kind of fits the song a little bit better. If we can get the vocal to sit a little bit more consistently on top of the mix and get a little bit more airy, I think you have a winner here. So nice job, my friend. Good job. Okay, we got two more. Who's next? Randy's up next. Randy, you here? Let's listen and see what Randy has. Here we go, Randy. Okay, so a couple of notes here, Randy. The kick and the bass cuts really well on small speakers. Great job. The problem that I hear with this mix is it sounds like we're in a box. It sounds very closed into me. It doesn't sound big. It sounds very small to me. That even the drum sound, I'm just trying to bring in a little bit more air. It sounds a little bit too warm to me, but not so much warm. It doesn't have the size and the space. It needs a little bit of reverb. And this sometimes, again, I don't know, unless you let us know tonight if you're here, sometimes this has to do with overcompression. If you overcompress drums or overcompress anything for that matter, sometimes people are under the misconception that compression makes things bigger. No, actually, compression makes things sound smaller. If you overcompress too much, it's going to shrink the size of those drums. Okay, so you want to be careful on that.
When the river sings a song, you know it won't be long.
So even there, sings your soul. Can't hear the last word. So the drums seem a little louder than the vocal in some spots here. Not too bad, but just a point of reference. And then also by cutting out some of this mid-range at 600, it tends to brighten things up. I think the drums are the thing that needs to be more open. It sounds, like I said, very compact to me, and it sounds a little disconnected from the rest of the band. A little bit of an S problem on the vocal, but not too bad. So I think with this one, I think you just need to go back and take a look at the way you got the drums kind of laid out, balanced, and again, what kind of reverb. It doesn't sound like, they sound very dry. And what kind of compression are you using? That's the other thing I would take a look at, because I suspect that the drums are a little over compressed, and that's why they sound small to me. But other than that, it's not bad. The rest of the instrumentation is balanced pretty well.
When the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay. When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday. Oh, when the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay. When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday. When the river
Not bad. Okay, so I think the drums, like I said, are the biggest thing here. But I mean, overall, the rest of it sounds good. Nice thing on the guitar solo there. I like the ride cymbal wasn't too in your face. It sounded nice balance. Overall sounds pretty good. I would just check the compression on the drums or just the overall drum balance. Okay, last mix here. We have Tony, last but certainly not least. And then I'll take some questions and answers. You guys have been hanging around. We still got 40 people here. We'll do some Q&As. I still have some people have questions about gear. I know Dave's trying to help as many as you could. But if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer it. Let's just get through the last mix, and then I'll let you know about the winner of the mixing contest and what plugins we're going to give away. So here we go, Tony's mix. Okay, so on the small speakers, bass and kick doesn't really cut through on this one. One of the notes that I took when I listened to this morning. Listening to this on headphones, the drums seem a little distant to me. And the lead guitar, especially the slide guitar, I like the way you've panned things. They sound really good. But the drums and the guitars are so disconnected, it feels to me. And the slide guitar, it's a lot of mid-range. There's certain notes that actually hurt the ears a little bit when you're listening to them on headphones. So the relationship between the drums and the guitars are a little off. And the drums sound like they need some more space here.
When the river sings a song, you know it won't be long till something come along and shows you
Okay, so the reverb on the vocal sounds really good. Great choice of reverb on this. Sounds nice. A little bit of a on the vocal. Got an S problem there a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. You need to work on that. And the vocal sounds a little thin to me. And also some of these words, again, that you got those spiky words that kind of pop out and hit you in the face.
You know it won't be long till something come along when the river sings your soul. You know it won't be long till it comes along, shows you right from wrong. When the river sings your soul, when the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay. When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday. Oh, when the river finds its way, well, you too will be okay. When the river finds its way, then you'll reach ocean someday.
Okay, so I made a little cut here, about 1.5 dB at 3.2K. Again, take some of that little nasally out of her voice and pull it down because there's some things that spike out a little bit. So you got to work on that a little. And the guitar sounds great. I love, again, the panning that you have, but it seems like because everything is so wide, it almost in the guitar, all the little licks and all the fills that are going on during the verses, it actually distracts me from the vocal. It's a little too in your face. Part of it's because you got them so well separated. So when you do that, you got to make sure you bring the volume down in the mix. Remember, we don't want the listener, we don't want the ear to be distracted away from the lead vocal, right? The story of the song. We don't want to be focused on the guitar. We want to be focused on the vocal. And that should be just kind of sitting in the background. It seems like it competes a little bit too much with the vocal. And I think part of it too is that these guitars are very mid-range heavy. You may want to scoop a little mids on that. That would help. It would help tame them a little. Yeah, so even in this section here, the guitars either have to be brought down or the drums have to be brought up because the guitars even bury the snare and the kick. So the guitars are loud. They sound great, but they're loud. I just think if you pulled them down, I think that might help. I think it would help a lot.
When the river lifts you up, you know that its wisdom will fill your cup. And when the river lifts you up,
and you still have a little bit of an S problem. So those are the takeaways for that one. So we got to work on the guitars, bring them down a little in the mix so they're not distracting from the vocal. The snare needs to come up a little bit. There's a little bit of de-essing there that needs to take place. And then again, a little bit of a cut on the lead vocal around 3K or so is going to help that nasal sound. But again, minor tweaks we're talking about here. We're being picky. Okay, so again, Tony, thank you so much if you're here tonight. If not, if you watch this on the replay, if you have any questions, you can certainly email me. Okay, so we have two mixes here that I think are, like I said, you know, they're both really good and you could pick one over the other, but they're the two best mixes I've heard from these two members yet, Dave Rhodes and David S.J. So those two guys win the mixing contest. I'm going to give away, Dave, I don't know if you're here. Dave, I know Dave S.J.'s here. Dave Rhodes, I don't know if you're here. I have one more license of Auto Align, the phase correction tool. I'd like to give that to you if you don't have it already. If you have it already, let me know and I'll see what else I can get for you. And David S.J., You have so many plugins. Let me see. Let's work out something together where I could give you something that you don't already have because you probably have everything that I have to offer. So we'll work something out. I want to give Dave something as well because those two mixes are by far the best I've heard from either one of those guys all year. And so that's something. So we normally only give away one plugin, but these two mixes, I think, deserve, each one of them deserve to get something for this. So great mix, guys. Great job, everybody. I want to head back over to the chat. We'll stay on for a few more minutes. If any of you guys have any questions that you want to ask, I know we still got almost 38 people here or so, and I'm sure some of you guys have some questions. Now's the time to ask. I'd be glad to help. Again, I know Dave's been pumping the chat with all the links. If you're not a member and you want this kind of not only feedback and training, you got to go to mixingmadeeasy.net, get on the email list in January. The doors are going to open January 1st through the 5th. If you're on the email list, you'll be notified ahead of time just so you can plan ahead and you don't forget, and you'll have an opportunity to join and sign up. And again, if you like mixing and you really want to get better at the craft of mixing, I don't know that there's a better place that you're going to get the amount of training that you're going to get, the amount of content and the amount of personal feedback you're going to get from me. You're not going to find that in too many other places, and it's probably the most affordable mixing membership website that I know of. So check it out. Now, in the next 2 months, if you want to, you can't join yet. So if you want to experience, well, what does some of the monthly content entail? You can go to the website and you can read all about it. There's a video on the website that'll tell you all about it. But you can also, if Dave puts the link in the chat one more time for me, you can get all the 2019 mixingmadeeasy.net content, the same content all the members got. You can pick, I have all 12 months available. I made them special for this broadcast. I don't offer those to the general public. You typically can't buy these. If you're someone who's new to mixingmadeeasy.net and you haven't been around all of 2019, this is an opportunity for you to get some of the back catalog if you want it as well. Okay. But anyway, you could go use the coupon code BLACK50, get 50% off the course, and you can pick one of the months and you can check it out. And you can see, you know, is this the content? Is this going to be for you? Now, I'm going to tell you, it's about 4 to 5, 6 hours a month worth of video content. Okay, there's a lot of information there, but we really get into the details of mixing. And you don't have to be a real experienced person. I teach it in a very non-technical way, so anyone can really understand it. So even if you're an absolute beginner, you will get a ton out of it. It is the quickest way for you to make your mixes sound better, is to not only practice and mix music as much as you possibly can, but have step-by-step instruction. Okay, so you can get one of the courses from 2019. You can become a member in 2021 if you'd like. Get on the email list, check all that stuff out, and check it all out. And again, for everyone else, if you want to get a course, if anything on homerecordingmadeeasy.com right now is 50% off using the coupon code BLACK50. Go check all that stuff out. Now, let me answer some of your guys' questions if you have any. So if you had a question and you typed it earlier and I didn't see it because we were in the middle of doing our demonstration, go ahead and ask now and I'll be glad to answer it for you. Oh, Jim, thank you so much for the super chat. Very kind of you, Jim. You didn't have to do that. Jim's a member and you didn't have to do that, but I do appreciate it. Again, if anyone here, you know, wants to donate a super chat and get Uncle Dave a cup of coffee, I'd appreciate that. But usually these calls are private. They're just for the members, and that, you know, it doesn't cost you anything, you know, but I want to give it to the public tonight so you can see what we kind of do here. But thanks, Jim. I really do appreciate it, brother. You didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. Any questions? Hit me up now. Now's the time to ask. We've been on here about an hour and a half. I'll stay a little bit longer if you want, but I want to try to help. Any questions that you guys have, now is the time to ask. And again, Dave Rhodes, make sure you hit me up tomorrow, and David SJ, hit me up, and I'll get you your plugin licenses and all that stuff, and you guys can check that stuff out. So come on, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Let me know. Can I help you? What questions do you have? Some of you guys had gear questions earlier, but I didn't get a chance to answer it. Maybe David taking care of it. Let's see, David, Big Red 81, DJ Big Red 81. Hey, DJ Big Red 81, how are you? Have you ever considered doing a payment plan for membership? Example, like 3 payments of the amount. Yes, for the yearly membership, we'll do that in January. Not for the monthly membership, because the monthly membership is low enough that I don't do 3 payments. But on the yearly membership, yes. That will happen in January, where you can make 3 payments. I think it's 2 payments or 3 payments. I forget what it is. But yes, absolutely. If that makes it easier for people, then certainly, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I will definitely do that. But it'll just be on the yearly. And the yearly membership, you get 2 free months, right? So you're paying for 10 months and you're getting 12 months worth of stuff. The yearly membership is really where it's at. It's the best overall savings, you know. So anyhow. Let's see. Randall says, congrats to all the good mixes. A lot of good mixes. Yes. A lot of guys are getting really good. Again, every month I get more and more picky. And that's really what you want me to do. Again, I've said this before to the members here privately. You guys have come a long, long way in the last year and a half. I mean, it's amazing. It was much easier to pick the mixes apart a year ago. Much easier. Now it's becoming more and more challenging, where I'm moving to listening to on different speaker systems, you know, where we weren't doing that 2 years ago. Because 2 years ago, I was just trying to get everyone to get good balances. Forget listening to it on different speaker systems. We weren't ready for that yet. Now we are. We're moving in that direction. And we're going to be doing some other things coming up in 2021, where I'm going to give you different challenges on where when we're using reference tracks, we're going to try to match the reference as closely as possible. Not that we typically would do that, but it's a great exercise to learn how to tune your ears. So we're going to do things like that and different challenges throughout 2021 to make so you can get a mix that when you send me a mix that it sounds solid no matter where you play it. Okay, so those are some of the things we're going to do. For sure. Steven says, hey, Steve, how are you liking your hybrid setup now that you've been for a few months? I like it a lot, and I've used some of it with the Mixing Made Easy content where I've run it through some of the hardware. I don't do that every month because most of you guys don't have hardware, or at least a lot of you don't. But I do like it. I like it a lot. And I've done some YouTube videos comparing plugins to hardware. It's something that it's not for everybody. The number one question that I get about it is, you know, is it really that much better than the plugins? Well, again, it's very subjective. In certain areas, yes, it is. And in other areas, it's close enough that you can get away with plugins. The hardware pieces that I've chosen, that I currently use, and I don't have lots of them, really does something that the plugins, at least that I've have so far, can't do. And so, but the plugin, you don't need to have hardware to get really great mixes. You don't. But it's fun. You like turning knobs and stuff. It's a different type of a thing, you know. It's like mixing with regular faders, physical faders versus a mouse and a keyboard. You know, it's that kind of thing. You can do either, but some people prefer one over the other. But I do like it, and we'll use more of it as we go forward. But it is fun, and I do recommend it if you're in the market for that stuff. I've done some videos on it where you can hear the difference between certain plugins and certain pieces of hardware. Let's see, who else here? Oh, Steven says specifically the 500 series gear. Yeah, love it. Especially the Neve 542 tape emulations. There's nothing like that. No plugin does what those things do. They're great. I have 2 of them because they're mono for left and right. I like those a lot. Those are really, really good. Milkman. Hey, Milkman, how are you? Do you have the Avitone mix cubes that you use to check the mixes? What speakers are you using to check the mixes? Yes, I use the Avitone mix cubes. I use my Focal monitors, my headphones, and then I'm also I have a little cheap, like a boombox radio from like the 1980s that I bought from Kmart for like $40 way back in the day. I use that as well. But I'm using the Avitone, and those Avitones, by the way, if you're looking for a secondary set of crappy speakers, sound crappy speakers to really judge your mixes, the Avitones are fantastic. And again, Sweetwater sells them. They're powered, so you don't need an amplifier. I think they're $500 for the pair, and they are worth it all day long. If you can make your mix sound good and translate on those things, they will sound good anywhere. They really, really will. So I would highly recommend those. And again, you can get them on Sweetwater for, I think they're $500. And Sweetwater's running a bunch of Black Friday stuff too. There may even be deals on that, and you can use their financing and stuff. And again, you can use my affiliate link. Dave's put it in the chat already a couple of times tonight. That helps me out. But I highly recommend those Avitone speakers. They're fantastic. But that's what I use, Milkman. Good question. Jim says, I'm getting the bus compressor on Thursday. Is pipeline pretty straightforward? Yes, it is. And I did a video on it. Jim, check it out on the YouTube channel. Yeah, it's real easy to use. It looks a little confusing. It takes you a second to kind of wrap your head. But once you see me demonstrate it, you'll go, oh, yeah, that's easy. It is really easy. So I think you'll have no problem with it at all. It's a really clever plugin. It works really well. Let's see. Oh, yeah. And Dave just put the video link there. Dave's on top of it, man. Okay, DJ Big Red. Well, Dave, I did some math. Should have waited, but I'm eager to learn, so I went ahead and bought the membership deal you sent me in the email. Oh, that's great, man. Thank you so much. That's great. Fantastic. Yeah, you got a good deal. You got a good deal. Welcome to the family. I'm glad you joined. You're going to love it. Now, if you go onto the website tonight, tomorrow, as soon as you get all your login credentials, you have, remember, there's always 2 months. I didn't mention that. Whenever you log in, no matter when you sign up, there's always 2 months of content available. You have the month that we're in, so we're in November. So right now everybody's working on November's mix, and you also have October's content there as well. On December 1st, October comes down and December goes up, and you'll have November and December. So you'll always have 2 months that you can download to your computer. You have to download it so you have it forever. So even if you can't work on it right away, you have it, it's there. And just keep that in mind. And make sure you work on it and send us your mix next month. I'd be interested to hear one of your mixes. The mixes, send them to me in MP3 format by the 25th of every month, and I'll make sure I include you in next month's coaching call. So congratulations. I know you're going to love it. If you spend the time with it, my friend, I'm telling you, you're going to get a lot out of it. So welcome to the family. I appreciate your support, and I'm glad that you're here. Welcome aboard, Jimmy says. Yes, you're going to love it. Oh, and make sure you have access to the user forum too. There's a mix feedback area where people post revisions of their mixes throughout the month, and all the members kind of chime in and kind of give you some pointers. You want to check that out too. So you get a lot of feedback, man. You're going to get a lot of feedback. If you want it, you're going to get a lot of feedback. All right, let's see. Okay, Jim is talking to Dave. Okay, Jimmy Farmer. Okay, kids, got to pick up the wife. Hey, Jimmy, congrats to the winners. Have a good evening. You too, Jimmy. Thank you so much. We're all looking forward to mixing your song in January. That's going to be fun. He's got a good band, good recording. I really like your music. You got a good vibe. It's going to be cool. Okay, Tony. Hey, Tony, what's up? Just wondering, where is the high-pass filter? Take some of the lows. Where is the high-pass filter? Take some of the lows out. Just wondering. Well, the high-pass filter is on, well, it's on almost every EQ. You should use a high-pass filter or a low-cut filter on every track except kick and bass, really. I mean, even on bass you should. But, the low-end stuff, maybe not so much. But everything else should have a high-pass filter on it at some point. And I've done videos on that as well. It's on the YouTube channel. You'll check that out. Dave put the affiliate link up for Sweetwater once again. If you're looking in the market for some new studio gear, this is the time to buy it. Sweetwater's got great deals. Again, if you're mixing on studio monitors and you don't have a secondary set of monitors, this is the time to get them right now because you're going to get a good deal on them at Sweetwater. So it'll be cool. Let's see. Luke says, hey, Luke, how you doing? Hey, man, very much appreciate for what you do and what you've put out for us to learn from. Hey, man, thank you so much, Luke. I appreciate you being here, man. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. I'm here to train. I try to do, well, this coaching call happens every month, as I said, but now I'm doing more things even with Home Recording Made Easy. I've done 3 live streams in a row. We've demoed some stuff. We've done some mixing demonstration stuff. We're going to do some more of that stuff. Myself and David have been brainstorming on some things we can do on the live streaming, format to get you guys some more training. So stay tuned to that. And I'm glad you're here, Luke. Hey, Milkman, have you considered adding a profile page to the MME site so members can get to know each other a little better? That's a good idea. I don't know if my website platform will allow me to do that, but I will look into that. I haven't considered it because I have not thought of it, but that's a great idea. I'd love to do that. Let me see if it's something that I can do. If I can do it, and somehow, in the user forum though, in the community, Milkman, is there a way? I think there's a way for you to create you got to check that. Maybe there's a way in the user community. If not, I'll look into that. It's a good idea. Great, good point. Thanks for sharing it. Luke says, I'm struggling to get an open, natural sounding acoustic singer-songwriter song to balance, but the transients are too pokey. Yeah, that's typical, especially with acoustic guitar and dynamic. Tape de-essing multiband seems to smear more than they fix. Be careful with multiband compression. I don't use it a lot. I shouldn't say. I hardly use it ever. It's one of those things that's very tricky to dial in and get it to sit well. Some people really like it. I've just never been a big fan of it. Acoustic guitar singer-songwriter, yes, very much, especially if it's not finger picked and like a kind of a heavy strummer. Very, very pokey, very complicated to do. You got to be real careful. It's with stuff like that. It could be stacking compressors as a way to really do that. And to also, even before you hit things with a compressor, like we talked about with the lead vocal tonight, if you have things that are really all over the place, you may have to manually go in and do some editing and kind of level things off a little bit before you even hit a compressor. But yes, singer, songwriter, acoustic guitar singer, especially if it's one microphone picking up both acoustic guitar and vocal, very difficult to mix and sound right. Most of that mix starts at a really good recording. That's where the recording has got to be spot on to be able to mix that well. If it's all over the place, it becomes tricky. And it's usually a combination of different types of compression stages to kind of level those things off. And sometimes, as I said, you have to do it in a manual way because a compressor in and of itself isn't always going to hit it. But sometimes using things like tape machines, as you mentioned, is another good way to do it. To kind of tame those transients, but it's difficult. It is. A lot of it has to do with recording. Acoustic guitars are very difficult to record well. They're just hard instruments to record because they're so dynamic. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Dave's hitting up all the links. You guys got all the links there. You see what's going on. We've been on here almost a couple of hours. We still have 33 people here, which is fantastic. Once again, make sure you go over to Home Recording Made Easy. Take advantage of the Black Friday stuff. Get all the training in before the holidays start. And if you're interested in the Sweetwater stuff, the link is there as well. Let's see. Let's see here. It's being held for review. Okay. All right, I see that. Okay, thank you. David S.J. Hi, I'm working with Studio One. Do you have any videos on how to mix and master using the program? What I'm going to try, copy and paste from one session to another, and I don't lose it. I have plenty of, yes, I have plenty of videos on mixing and mastering in Studio One, for sure. If you go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, on the training courses page, there's a section of videos just for PreSonus Studio One. You'll see it, unless Dave puts the link up. And so if you're a beginner to Studio One, there's two courses that I would absolutely tell you want is the PreSonus Studio One Beginner's Guide. You want that. And Mixing in Studio One Volume 1. Those are the two beginners courses for mixing in Studio One. And then Mastering Made Easy if you want to learn how to master music. Okay? So those are the three courses you want to check out if you're new to Studio One. So that's what I would suggest to you. And again, you can get it today at Black Friday, 50% off. So go do that. Oh yeah, and David says, hit the like button. We only got 2 thumbs up. We got, 35 people still here? We should have 35 thumbs up. Unless you really didn't like what you saw here tonight. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Then you don't have to hit the like button. But if you can, that helps me. It helps the YouTube algorithm. It helps me get more people to the channel. So anything you guys can do on that front would really help, and I do appreciate that. This coaching call will be up in the members area sometime tomorrow. But because I'll probably leave it up on YouTube as well. I don't typically do that. It comes right down because it's really for the paying members. They're paying for this membership and this is for them. But a couple of times a year, these guys are nice enough to allow me to use and let the general public see some of this stuff. And so I will leave this one up on YouTube. So if you can hit the thumbs up, that would really help. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that. Okay? One more chance here for questions. If you have any, ask me now. If not, again, I want to thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much to all the mixing members. Again, I appreciate you guys a lot. I really do appreciate all your support. If I won't talk to you between now and Thanksgiving, make sure you have a happy and a healthy and a safe Thanksgiving. I know it's a little strange this year with everything going on, but let's be thankful. Let's try to look for the silver lining and everything, and hopefully 2021 will be better. We will be doing some more live streams coming up soon on Home Recording Made Easy. Just stay tuned to that. It'll come out in the emails if you're on the email list. And I think that's it. That's it for now. Okay. So again, thank you everybody very, very much. I will see all my mixing members next month. And again, if you're not a member, get over to mixingmadeeasy.net and get on the email list and you'll be notified. So in January, you can sign up. Okay. I'll see everybody next month. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.